Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this this impromptu video. I want to share with you a trade that I'm making right now. I want to show you the situation because it's a very, very particular one. Let's see how it turns out. Obviously, I hope it goes well because when you open a trade, you always do it for technical reasons, of course. But then obviously we never have the certainty or guarantee that the trade will actually work out as we expect when we open it. So of course, we'll see later if this trade ends up in profit or not. And now let's take a look at the reason behind this trade. As you can see, we have a rather significant situation unfolding. Today, the market opened and, broke a level it started off. And at first, it seemed like it had broken this very, very important level at 6,245, but then it encountered absorption right away. It tried to react. Here, you can see that some fairly strong buying came in, it reacted, but then the market took off with quite significant bullish momentum. There was an initial short impulse that was very quick, very rapid. You can see how much short volume came in our delta filter for aggregates, shows us just how much short was entering. So this more or less defined our alert level, if not exactly our stop level, okay? And then we see that the market absorbed several times. It rejected once, twice, three times, and now it's trying to push. It made an absorption look at how much the delta filter went into short, very, very significant. If we take a closer look at the bar itself, we see that the bar C, this bar turns green, blue, red, or orange, depending on whether the delta inside is positive or negative. At the moment, the bar is trying to rise with a negative delta, so there is strong selling pressure. We can also see from the delta filter how much sellers are trying to push, selling on the bid side to try to make the price reject this level. That's why I was saying we'll see what happens. The vol analyzer algorithm has identified an absorption zone right on the IBI with the dynamic VWAP below acting as support. So at the moment, everything seems to indicate that the long position is being maintained and confirmed. From the point of view, let's say, of this situation here, we can see that there's also a very, very particular situation unfolding, because what is actually happening, we have this large distribution that started already 2 days ago. After an impulse, we can see that this distribution, let's say, continued up to today's open, where we saw a very, very strong Nasdaq and a fairly significant impulse bar. You can see that after the first pause, the impulse bar is continuing and is trying to keep going. Obviously, it had left out this rather significant low volume area. Of course, the confirmation of this whole movement will come with the breakout of this high here. And when the breakout happens, at that point, we'll understand how to manage the potential target as well. At the moment, the stop remains anchored. Let's see where it stays anchored. The stop remains anchored. Right now, I've placed it here temporarily to avoid any potential issues. However, the stop, obviously, even here, the break of this level will already be the first warning level that will start to get my attention. But let's say this level, this is the VWAP. If it were to be broken to the downside, that would trigger my stop. So for now, it's here just for safety. If the market were to obviously reverse and start to change the situation, then I'll reassess, of course. But for now, let's say we keep it there for safety. Another important aspect to consider, why is my target there? You see, these are the February highs and these are the historical highs, right? So let's say that my first target, if the market manages to push higher, will definitely be around 6,280 to 6,282. For now, I've set it here, but as soon as it starts to move, if it does start to move, of course, we'll then look at how to position the targets. Anyway, basically, these are the two targets. The first target I expect and the second target I expect. Let's say that at the moment, the situation is pretty much at a standstill. The market is just moving back and forth around these highs here. And obviously, we're waiting for the breakout. Then I'll be able to tell you how it went. The market seems to be confirming the bullish setup once again. It has made a new test, and as you can see here, it confirms the support by creating higher lows. Now we'll see if at the moment no particular long strength or long impulses come in, and so we'll see if there will actually be an attempt to break the highs, and and if we'll actually see long strength coming in and thus an attack on the ask side of the book. Let's wait and see. What's happening on the void book is also very interesting. You see liquidity is coming in. A lot of liquidity has come in as protection. That is to push the price down at the first, let's say, the first buy. At the first buy, the liquidity disappeared, then came back in again. And at the first buy, it disappeared again. Now here there's a absorption, a stop in absorption. So this situation developing in the void book is also very interesting. Let's see how it ends. The market continues to absorb large sell orders coming in quite significantly, but obviously until we break the highs and see an ignition from the longs, we're still waiting basically. So in any case, the market is currently confirming. You see this area and the lows are getting higher and higher, right? And it's all absorption basically, because there's a lot of short selling coming in even heavily, but at the moment it doesn't seem able to push the market down. So it's an unresolved effort for now, okay? So let's see if the market now has the strength to break out and how the situation will develop. Yes, the market has broken the highs, but we still don't see any long positions coming in. It's still trying to absorb. And the main issue, as you can see, is that the Nasdaq is stuck in this resistance from the vol analyzer and has reacted to this level that came from further back. At the moment is not breaking out of these levels, so the S&P is rising due to the effect of the Russell and the Dow Jones, but is not being supported by the Nasdaq. So this is what's currently holding back the upward movement. Let's see what happens. We've reached the B50, so let's take a moment to see what unfolds. Here we are. It's almost precisely 9 o'clock in European time, so that would be 3 o'clock in the afternoon, New York time. And the significant compression that is happening on the Nasdaq up here at these elevated highs is truly and remarkably impressive to observe. The rise that the S&P is making is happening gradually, all through absorption. You can see all these red triangles, double reds, which indicate how much aggression there is on the bid side of the market, but notice how the market keeps climbing little by little. So this is truly a rise through absorption, and a strong one at that. The only thing missing now to trigger an upward explosion is for the Nasdaq to break out with volume. If the Nasdaq manages to break these highs, bringing in volume like it did during the climb, then we'll see an explosion. If that doesn't happen, unfortunately, I think we'll go back down. In any case, let's wait. And of course, I hope this happens. Unfortunately, the situation still remains a bit ambiguous. There is the Nasdaq, which we have finally come to test now. Oh, finally, it's entering the long. Here it is now. It's going into the long, but the arrows that indicate the real entry into the long haven't activated yet. So now the Nasdaq has made a fake move, you see. So let's see what happens now. It's very, very important to understand how the situation will develop. The short action present on the Nasdaq is truly massive. You see how, even though, I mean, this whole part is trending upwards and our indicator shows it, you can really see how this last bar that's dropping is getting more and more brightly red. There's a very, very significant short action on the Nasdaq, specifically to counter the rise of the S&P. So we'll really see now, as we get closer to the close, how this will end, because there was a fake out up here, and it will be important to understand what happens. If all this shorting actually leads to a drop, then the decline will be significant. But if it's an effort without results, then a breakout to the upside will be very, very important. Let's wait and see and try to understand. At the moment, the S&P doesn't want to go beyond 6,270 or around 271. Let's see what happens. We're getting close to the close now, so let's see. The way things are unfolding is truly impressive. You can see even in this situation, so many shorts came in on this bar, but the market rejected them again and went back above B50. The Nasdaq remains compressed within this range, and there's also a lot of short interest coming in on the Nasdaq. Let's see what happens, because something really, really important is happening on the S&P. Let's see what will happen at the close at this point. I would say the situation is truly impressive. I mean, there's a huge amount of short interest. You can see how much short has come in, and for now it's all being absorbed, so it's really quite impressive. Let's see at this point what will happen at the close. The Nasdaq continues to remain trapped, but the S&P is absorbing in an incredible way so far. Let's see what happens at the close at this point. We're now getting close to the close, but unfortunately, the Nasdaq still isn't breaking through this level. Let's see if we'll manage it or not. In the meantime, I'm closing one position, just one for now, because we're getting close to the close anyway. Finally, the long position comes in. Let's see if with the close, the market will finally have the strength to react. Anyway, as you've seen the sheer amount of short positions, so this is a completely absorbed rise, and now it's just a matter of waiting to see if the Nasdaq can break through this level. If the Nasdaq manages to break this level, I think tomorrow we're in for a really special day. Between the non-farm payroll and all this massive absorption we've seen on the S&P, I'd say this is quite significant. All right, I'd say that's it for today. As you've seen, now I'll wait a little longer, then I'll close my positions because I don't want to hold them overnight. You've seen the issue anyway. We haven't had a Nasdaq that managed to break this level. We'll see if it does so overnight. In the meantime, let's see if we can reach February's high. Well, that's all for now anyway. Have a good evening, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Quick update on last night's trade, which unfortunately hit the target overnight. Well, anyway, it went well. I wanted to show you for a moment a bit of the evolution, what's happening right now. Here, the CIS, as we can see, went up to the highs of February at 6,283. It actually touched it and reacted a bit here. As we can see here, the Nasdaq has temporarily broken out of its congestion zone, even though it hasn't really broken out. Obviously, we're at all-time highs. Today, there are the non-farm payrolls, and wait, I'm still on the overlay. So, yes, it has, let's say, broken out, but we're at all-time highs. Today, there will be the non-farm payroll, so it's a very, very critical day. Also, the markets will close early this evening. So, yes, in short, we've hit the target here, even though we closed our trade last night to avoid holding overnight. The vol analyzer zones also indicate that the first target has been reached. In the short term, we've hit the master target, and we've also reached the minimum target in the medium term, while in the long term, the target remains at 6,307. So we'll see, let's see how the day develops. For now, that's all for this particular update. This was just a brief initial update on the significant trade that commenced last night. I will see you later for the comprehensive daily analysis and further insights. Greetings to everyone, and have a good day.